We'll go ahead and call the monthly meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion.
Second. Mr. Anderson, second. All in favor, show of hands. 6-0, motion carries. Citizen statements, participation.
Thank you, Mr. President. The district has not received any requests for citizens' participation per Board Policy BDDH.
District announcements.
Thank you, Mr. President. Meet the Teacher for students in grades 7 through 12 will be held from 4 to 6 p.m. August 16th. Meet the Teacher Night for students in grades K through 6 will be held from 4 to 6 p.m. on August 17th. The first day of school for the 23-24 school year will be Monday, August 21st. I want to welcome all new students to our district. Parents of new students should complete the new student form. The link to the form is located on the district's main website page under the heading Welcome New Students. New families may also call the Student Services Office 842-2092. A link to the school supply list is also on the district's main page. All 7th graders and 8th graders who are new to the district and their parents should attend the orientation session at Waynesville Middle School from 4 to 6 p.m. on August 10th. An orientation called Freshman and New Student Transition Day will be held at Waynesville High School for all 9th graders and 10th through 12th graders who are new to the district from 8 to 2 on August 10th, and registration is required. A separate parent session will be held at 5:30 p.m. on August 8th. Registration is required, and the link and more details are on the high school website. As a reminder, students who participate in sports and band will need a physical this year. Just a reminder, there is a new physical form. You can find this form by clicking Physical Form for Athletics required annually on the Athletics tab of our website. And also just a friendly reminder, before the start of the school year, all 8th graders will need to have 2 vaccines and seniors will need 1 unless they are exempted. 8th graders will need the Tdap and the meningococcal vaccine, and seniors will need the meningococcal vaccine. Homecoming is going to be held on Friday, October 6th this year, and we're looking forward to Chamber of Commerce's Tiger Pride Night before the game. Thank you.
Hard to believe you're already talking about the first day of school.
I'm struggling with that, obviously.
I have a motion to approve consent agenda items A through H.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, show of hands. Motion carries. Community recognition, Dr. Goforth.
Thank you, Mr. President. This month, the district would like to recognize the Waynesville St. Robert Chamber of Commerce for all of their contributions and support to our schools and community. If you would please come forward for a photo.
Discussion item, construction update, Mr. Harrison.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a few items to update here on from a construction standpoint tonight. I'm going to go through and do an update real quick on the transportation and IT storage buildings. Both of those are, I would say, 99.9% complete, but there are just a couple lingering items we're still waiting on. From the transportation building, we're still waiting on the electric panel parts. And we're having some technical difficulties with the clicker here. Could you turn the next slide, please? Transportation building, I mentioned last time we were waiting on the electric panel parts. There's a nationwide supply chain issue with electric panels, apparently, and so I was told by today the parts are supposed to be shipping from the manufacturer to the contractor. So we're hoping within the next week or so we'll have those in hand, and the electric contractor is ready to go to put those in as soon as they come in. Next slide, please. IT storage building. The only thing that's left here, the boiler system, they were waiting on some parts for that. They got the parts in, that's done. The system has been flushed, and so now all that's left, this week they're supposed to come in and do a test and balance, which comes in as the final piece on the HVAC system, and then that building will be fully complete as well. Next slide, please. The Freedom Freeman Shelter, if you could go ahead and go on to the next slide as well. A couple pictures here. This is the inside of the building. As you can see, they've got everything cleaned up. What we're waiting on now is the flooring. So they're going to come in and put the flooring down. That is supposed to start happening tomorrow. And then they're supposed to be wrapped up with the flooring by July 21st. And then after they get done with that, there's a 3-week drying period where we can't be on, nobody can be on it. And then so that puts us around August 14th. They're going to come back in and install the bleachers, and that's supposed to take around 3 days. So they're supposed to be wrapped up on the 17th and then coming in with any final punch item list on August 18th and wrapped up. So we're supposed to be done by August 18th on that. If you could go to the next slide there too, there's a couple more pictures here, I believe. Last time I updated, the asphalt and the concrete around the outside of the building was not complete, and that's been done since then. So this is looking on in between the existing Freedom building and the new structure. All the concrete's done there, and then the picture on the left is the asphalt that's done. So coming along well on the Freedom FEMA shelter. On to the next slide, please. The WHS bathroom renovation. This is a project where we're renovating 4 out of the 13 sets of restrooms currently in the high school. Moving along nicely. Contractor's doing a great job. As you can see, they've got all the framing done, and the electrical contractor is in there now. I was just up there today checking everything out. They're working on getting all the electric rough end done, and they anticipate to have that done, I believe, by the end of this week, and drywall is supposed to start going up next week. So moving along nicely on that project, and we're still pushing around the August 11th date to have substantial completion on that project. On the next slide, I believe this is just any questions. I'd be glad to answer on any of that.
Any comments or questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Harrison.
Thank you.
Summer school report, Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. The 2023 summer school report is attached for your review. We had another successful summer school this year, and we had over 500 classes completed by secondary students at the high school, and then we had over 1,100 students who took part in grades K through 8, so it was great to keep them learning during the month of June.
Thank you. 22-23 discipline report, Mrs. Long.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to share our final report of discipline statistics for the district this evening. The first slide shows the discipline referrals district-wide for the past 6 years. To look at a total number of referrals for the entire district, you will note there is an increase of 323 incidents from last school year to this past school year. This is a breakdown of referrals by building. One difference this year from prior years is that we have begun tracking and separating out referrals for the alternative school as well as transportation. Those were previously reported within the buildings that those students resided, their home schools. So now those are being tracked and reported differently so that we can look for trends in those areas as well. This is a breakdown by incident for the Waynesville High School the past 3 years. You can see they did have an increase overall of 250 referrals for the past year, but this breaks it down by each offense type for the past 3 years. This shows incidents by race at the high school. The top numbers in the bar graph reflects raw numbers, and the bottom reflects percentages of total incidents. Again, reported for the past 3 years to look for any trends. This slide shows the suspensions for the Waynesville High School and Career Center for the last 3 years, separating out, again, the number of in-school suspensions, out-of-school suspensions, and the use of short-term ASP at the top, as well as on the bottom for the past 3 years. This is a breakdown for our middle school 3-year trend. The middle school this year did see a decrease overall of 300 referrals within their building. And again, this breaks it down for the past 3 years and by each specific offense type. Showing again 3-year trends at the middle school, the top of the bar graph, the incidents by race with raw data, and then the percentage of total incidents at the bottom as well for the past 3 years. This is the middle school suspensions 3-year trend, looking again at the top of total days of suspension for students, and at the bottom part of the graph on the total number of ISS and OSS incidents. This is a breakdown for our elementary schools of serious consequences for incidents. You will see the ISS infractions broken down by building for the past 3 years on the left, and out-of-school suspension infractions on the right. And as we've discussed previously, the increase at East was due to classification and an increase in accountability of whenever students are sent home for behavior reasons this past year. So that makes it difficult to compare with previous years due to inconsistencies in reporting in that area. This is for the 6th grade center. You'll see discipline incidences again by race, raw data for the past 3 years at the top, and by percentage of total incidents at the bottom. And elementary school, this is a look at all of our 5 elementary buildings, raw numbers divided of student incidents by race, again the past 3 years, and then that comparison is seen in percentages. Thank you. Any questions?
Comments or questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Schultz, I'd just like to thank the board for the interactive discussion we had during study session about the discipline report. A lot of good questions were asked, and I know Mrs. Long enjoyed sharing how we use this data to inform our decision-making and make adjustments for the upcoming school year.
Federal Programs Report, Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight, I'm going to present the federal programs evaluation, and this update's given every other year. I'm going to discuss funding, the federal programs activities, as well as goals for the program. So these were our allocations for last year, and we have 4 buckets that fall under federal programs. Title I, that serves our Title I schools, which are East, Freedom, Partridge, and Wood, and then we also fund our PACE program through that. Title 1D, that is for perimeter. Title 2A is our funding for high quality teachers, so includes professional development and such. And we also transfer funds from Title 4 over to supplement that fund. And then Title 3 LEP supports our English learners. And our total for all of those programs is $1.4 million. So Title I, again, East, Freedom, Partridge, and Wood, and really the buildings make some decisions about what they need, and so different buildings have different activities going on, but we fund intervention teachers, and we will have a paraprofessional at Freedom this year. in the upcoming year. We have, some buildings have instructional coaches or behavior intervention specialists. They also fund district-selected professional development activities and can support technology, supplemental instructional materials, and parent involvement activities. We also provide support for students who are in transitional living situations from this funding, and then at our PACE preschool helps out with teachers and paraprofessionals, supplies, and professional development activities. Title 1D, that is Perimeter, formerly was named Piney Ridge Center. We supported 75 students there this last year. This year we had 2 teachers who provided a combination of virtual and on-site instruction, and we will actually have additional teachers on-site this upcoming year. We used virtual education licenses through Edmentum to also supplement instruction, and then the funds were used for instructional materials and professional development. Title 2A supports one of our district instructional coaches, our new teacher induction program and mentoring, and then professional development activities that support our district goals. And Title III, the bulk of this is used to support a title, an EL paraprofessional, and then also for instructional materials and professional development for our EL students. Well, professional development for our EL teachers, and as well as our general education staff. We do have goals within federal programs. Our goal 1 is that the percentage of students scoring proficient or advanced on MAP will increase by 2% per year in ELA and math. We re-baselined this in 2021 due to changes in the test, making it difficult to look at previous tests in here, and then after getting through COVID. So new baseline set in 2021, and we'll be able to add our 2023 data here soon. Goal 2 has 2 parts. The first part is that the percentage of students reading at or above grade level will increase by 1% per year, with a goal of 75% of students on level, and we measure this using our STAR benchmark, and so that is something that we continue to focus on, and ELA instruction is a priority along with math, but ELA at the elementary level, especially with our reading specialist and reading interventionist. The second part of Goal 2 is that 75% of students will achieve mastery on our local common assessments, so on our priority standards. And when you look at pre-K through 6, which is what we measure for this goal, we were at 76% meeting that goal overall. Goal 3 is that 75% of preschool students will meet the Missouri Early Learning Standards, and we were at 85.6% in ELA and 86.1% in math. So we're very proud of that growth with our students. And the last one looks at the access test for our English learners, and so the goal for Goal 4 is that the percentage of EL students scoring 5 or higher in the English language in reading, writing, speaking, and listening will increase 2% each year as demonstrated on state proficiency assessments, and we did meet that goal this year. Are there any questions?
Any
Thank
comments
you.
or questions? Thank you, Dr. Atkins. Diversity lessons, Dr. Washington.
Thank you, Mr. President. The elementary diversity curriculum team and the secondary diversity curriculum team met, and we've established student and staff diversity lessons, still following Leader in Me like we did last year. So the attached student and staff diversity lessons for the 23-24 school year will be presented to the board for the first reading. Do you have any questions?
Comments or questions? No, thank you.
Thank you.
Staffing plan revision, first reading, Dr. Goforth.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following revision to the 23-24 staffing plan is presented for you as a first reading.
Any comments or questions? Goforth. Thank you, Dr. Goforth. Move to action. Job description, second reading, Dr. Goforth.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following attached proposed job descriptions are presented for your review as a second reading. Administration requests approval of the below job descriptions as presented.
Any comments or questions? Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
All in favor, show of hands. Motion carries. WHS course additions, Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Administration requests approval of the WHS course additions as presented: AP 2D Art and Design, AP 3D Art and Design, and AP Drawing.
Any other comments or questions on that? Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries. And that'll be it tonight. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? We are adjourned.